Hey there everyone, it's Brendan here and welcome back to the Crypto Analyst channel and to another cryptocurrency market update. And I'll tell you what, there is a huge sentiment shift that is happening in the crypto markets right now. And what I mean by this is that in recent months, we have seen a lot of attention be towards Bitcoin. And it makes sense. We had the Bitcoin ETFs first, then we had the Bitcoin halving. Bitcoin dominance was on the rise. It was outperforming a lot of altcoins. Even the altcoin market as a whole for the last several months has been kind of bleeding out. But now what we're seeing is a shift in sentiment where Ethereum has begun to outperform Bitcoin. Solana has also started to outperform Bitcoin again. We're seeing a lot of attention around the Ethereum ETFs. All these traditional financial players have begun updating those ETFs. And we even have like key figures in the tech space, such as Steve Wozniak coming out and saying that he thinks that Ethereum could hit $15,000 this year, not even this cycle, this year. And so we have a ton of stuff that we need to talk about in today's market update in regards to specifically what's happening in the altcoin market. But I also want to show all of you a bit of a sneak peek about some stuff that could be happening on Bitcoin as well. So if that does interest you, all that we ask here is that you stay tuned for the entire length of the video. And if you really like the content, hit that like and subscribe button because we got a lot of great content coming forth as well as a special announcement towards the end of this video. So let's go ahead and get into what in the world is happening here, because as you just saw, Bitcoin's doing all right, but it hasn't really recovered nearly as strong as what Ethereum is doing and even what Solana has been doing. Because what we saw was that even though Bitcoin kind of saw a break of the lows right here, that's not something that Ethereum saw. Again, if we kind of, and I'm going to take off the watermarks here, but if we kind of look at this, Ethereum never broke its lows. And the same kind of goes for Solana over here, where it relatively held its previous lows as well, where Bitcoin was not able to do so. And so now, if we kind of go and look at what's happening in the news, everything, and I mean everything, seems to be about what is happening from the fundamental side of Ethereum and or Solana. So for those of you who are not caught up to speed here, essentially what we're seeing is that Ethereum got its first round of ETF approvals. It comes from like BlackRock, Grayscale, 21 Shares, which is an ARC partner, Fidelity, all these big players, right? VanEck, the list goes on. And what we've seen here recently is that all of these ETF, essentially applicants have been updating their ETF filings because the speculation is that these things are going to get approved within the next week or two. A lot of people are saying it's going to happen next week. We don't have an exact date for when this is set to happen, but a lot of people are speculating and theorizing that this is going to be something that happens very, very soon. Now, in another cool event, before I kind of show that picture, we also saw that the co-founder of Apple was coming out, Steve Wozniak, and he was saying, hey, I think that Ethereum could hit $15,000 this October, not even this cycle. I've been an advocate saying, hey, I think Ethereum could easily hit $10,000 this cycle. He's one upping me here and saying, hey, I think it could hit $15,000 by October. And when people are asking how this is possible, because the current price of Ethereum is $3,000, well, that would mean that it would need to 5x from where it's currently priced at. Now, there's a couple of things that we have to understand here. Number one, Ethereum is substantially smaller than Bitcoin in terms of market cap, but also there's analysts out there that are saying, hey, Ethereum's ETF inflows could hit $10 billion. And if this happens, then it could send Ethereum to new all-time highs. And I'll tell you what, I actually agree with this. If we see $10 to $15 billion of inflows into Ethereum, I think all-time highs are completely possible. Now, whether we're going to see 15K by October, I think is a little bit optimistic, but I do think a 15K Ethereum is ultimately something that is possible. Tom Dunleavy, he was an analyst that we have had on our shows in the Crypto 101 podcast and other stuff before, an expert analyst in the crypto space. He was saying, hey, we saw $15 billion in flows for Bitcoin. I think we're probably going to see $5 billion to $10 billion worth of flows for Ethereum. And again, I agree with him here. I think it's possible. Now, I think there's two big takeaways from this. Number one, I don't think we're going to see the same amount of inflows or flows in general that we saw in the Bitcoin ETFs. Again, Bitcoin is substantially larger in terms of market cap. So it justifies that it's going to have more flows than Ethereum. So when he's saying that Bitcoin did $15 billion worth of inflows and that Ethereum could do maybe $5 to $10 billion worth of inflows, I would imagine that he's getting that number by comparing Bitcoin's market cap to Ethereum's market cap. Again, with Ethereum's market cap being about a third of what Bitcoin's is. So if Bitcoin did 15 billion, we divide that by 3, and then we could get around the $5 billion area. But if there's a lot more attention, maybe that goes up closer to 10 billion. And again, I would agree here with his assumption and with his analysis. And what this would do is have a drastically positive impact on Bitcoin, on Ethereum's price here. So again, just a lot of attention towards Ethereum. And then finally, it kind of goes back to this idea of the ETF countdown is imminent. Bitwise CIO is saying, hey, this is the birth of a new asset class. And I would even dare to say, some people are going to think that this is taking it too far, but I would even make comparisons between Apple and Ethereum, right? Apple is this entity that has birthed the iPhone and the App Store and all these other things where other companies, independent of individuals and projects, can go on to Apple, they can make an app, make a business, and build this multi-million or even billion-dollar company from something that is entirely, or for the most part at least, built on Apple and utilizes their technology in the same way that Ethereum is the base layer, which side projects and altcoins and all these other entities can do the very same thing on Ethereum, or a very similar thing, right? And then they can use the Ethereum base layer to build their projects. And I think that there is a bit of a comparison here. And so in the same way that Apple was this, now household name that was able to let individuals and other entities create these billion-dollar companies, even just through their app store, I think Ethereum can do the same way over here. So I think that there is a comparison between Apple and Ethereum. I'm not to say that they're going to do exactly the same thing or anything like that, but I hope you get the analogy that I'm kind of trying to show all of you here. Now, the last thing that I want to show all of you before we leave here is just the screenshot of what's happening behind the scenes with these Ethereum ETFs. So when I said everyone was updating them, I meant just about everyone. So this is an alert, and this is a tweet from James Seyfarth. He is one of the lead ETF analysts over at Bloomberg Intelligence, another great guy that we've had here on Crypto 101. But essentially, this is just a screenshot saying, hey, Fidelity has updated their Ethereum ETF, Franklin Templeton, Grayscale, 21 Shares, Van Eck, like the list goes on here, and everyone's doing this. And you can see that this is all within like an hour or a couple hour period here where everyone is updating their Ethereum ETFs. And it makes you go back and kind of think about the concept. And if one of these gets updated, okay, it's understandable. If all of them get updated at the same time, same place, it's like, all right, something's happening here. And if we're theorizing that these are supposed to come out within the next week or two and they're all getting updated like this, there could very well be something that's happening in the background. And so what we're actually doing here is we put together a summit. It's called our Crypto Hedge Fund Summit. It's going to be happening next Wednesday and next Thursday. And we have gathered some of the best hedge fund, managers, and just everyone who is leading the charge on the crypto space. And we gathered them all into this hedge fund summit completely for free for all of you. It's not going to cost you anything. However, I will say that we only have a limited number of free tickets. So if you want to join us and you want to hear what all these different hedge funds are talking about, all these project leaders, all these industry leaders, when it comes to the finance and blockchain and crypto space, I'm going to have a link to that in the description down below. And so you can go down there. Again, we only have a certain amount of free tickets, but I want to make sure that everyone here on the channel gets access to it. So you can attend this, again, completely for free next Wednesday and Thursday, and you're going to get access to just a ton of, hopefully, special information of like what they're seeing, what their strategies are, and everything that goes into that. And I think all of you are going to enjoy this. I'm actually one of the essentially like analysts or interviewers that is part of this summit. So I make sure that I don't hold back. I'm not asking like the easy questions of like, do you like Bitcoin or something like that? No, we ask all the questions that you all want to know. So I hope to see all of you there. And if you did enjoy the content that we're making over here, again, all that we ask is that you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, maybe check out the Crypto 101 podcast YouTube channel or the Crypto 101 podcast in general. And of course, check out that hedge fund summit as well, because I think a lot of you, especially if you're someone who clicked on this video, you're going to find enjoyment in it. So thank you all for watching, and I'm going to see all of you at the same time, same place next week.